The boat sets sail and then returns from the sea. Their hunting journey is passed down from generation to generation. The vast ocean nurtures dreams of getting rich that can come true. Today, we will follow the footsteps of fishermen in the US to see how they catch billions of lobster and king crabs. Solitary and highly territorial are what is most true when talking about lobsters that live on the ocean floor. Lobsters are found in the northwest Atlantic Ocean. They are most abundant in the coastal waters from Maine to New Jersey and are commonly offshore in depths of up to 2,300 feet. It usually takes lobsters about 5 to 7 years to reach legal harvest size. On average, fishermen can pull up 250 to 300 traps in a day, and the harvest can be up to 800 or 900 pounds of lobster. Over the past 100 years, the lobster fishing industry has endured changes in processing, equipment, regulations, and fishing methods. The story about the value of lobsters has also changed. If in the early 1900s, lobster was considered the food of the poor, but today, lobster is an expensive delicacy, loved by many rich people. The biggest change occurring in the lobster market is the growth in demand for live lobsters. When people started demanding fresh lobster, lobster processors responded. The pressure is on the fishermen. They must catch and handle lobsters right on the boat. This is because this is the first step for both preservation and processing. Soon after direct shipping became the norm, many different varieties of fresh, frozen lobster meat became available on the market. Lobster fishing is the livelihood of people in the northeast coast. Passed down through generations, it has been going on for well over 100 years. So the important thing here is not only to catch excellent lobsters, but to also ensure that they remain in the future for the next generation of fishermen. A lobster fisherman's day typically starts at 3 a.m. Before departing the harbour, they need to prepare fresh bait to put in a trap. In a small boat, these fishermen are travelling to locations where they believe lobsters frequent. These traps are usually made of wire mesh or wood. The bait is usually fish or other seafood to attract lobsters. The traps are designed so that it is easy for lobsters to enter, but difficult for them to escape. However, each trap must have a small hole to protect baby lobsters. The trap is immersed on the seabed from depths to 6 to 90 feet. They usually let the trap sit in the water for 2 to 3 days. They will then return to pull up each trap. The lobster fishermen will begin pulling the traps onto the boat. They use a special hook to snatch up the buoy. The trap line is then brought onto the boat and connected to a hydraulic trap puller, a pulley-like system that automatically rolls the trap from the bottom of the ocean up and onto the boat. The area of this trap is enough for 20 lobsters to enter. After a day, the fisherman will come to check and then put the trap back in its original position. These operations are repeated until the end of the catching season. Once the traps are loaded onto the boat, the lobsters will then be graded, and any lobsters under 3¼ inches or over 5 inches in length will be released back into the ocean. They also follow measures to protect female lobsters that carry eggs. This lobster fishing method is regulated to ensure the sustainability of lobster populations. For divers, everything must be done quickly and accurately. They don't have much time or oxygen. You know, these lobsters can weigh up to 44 pounds. They are quite strong in the water and can injure them. Like a treasure hunt on the vast ocean, there is no specific or exact strategy. The results of the trip depend greatly on the area they choose to catch lobsters. Speculation and luck are two words we can imagine about this trip. The US is tightening regulations on fishermen to develop and preserve lobster resources in the ocean. Fishermen must have a license to harvest lobsters and comply with regulations on the minimum and maximum size of lobsters that can be harvested. Early in the morning, before sunrise, the fishermen started their boats out to sea. Their goal is to try to catch as many king crabs as possible. Fishermen use special traps to catch these giant creatures. The trap is box-shaped, consisting of a steel frame covered with nylon mesh. Each trap weighs 600 to 800 pounds, and a ship can carry between 150 to 300 traps. Herring and cod are often placed inside as bait. They will then release these traps to the seabed where the king crabs reside. The location of the trap is marked on the sea surface with a buoy. This is an identification sign for easy harvesting. After leaving the traps on the seabed for 1 to 2 days, they are pulled back to the surface. This is the time fishermen look forward to the most. They will know if they have gotten lucky or not. This trap is put onto the boat and the fishermen will classify their catch. King crabs that do not meet the minimum carcass length of 7 inches and weigh between 7.5 to 8 pounds will be returned to the ocean. King crabs are kept alive in tanks until the boat arrives ashore for sale. If the weather gets too cold, live king crabs can freeze and burst. Besides, if left in the tank for too long, they can harm and kill each other because they can be cannibalistic. Additionally, if a crab dies for any reason, it will secrete toxins that can kill other crabs. If fishermen fail to remove the dead crab, it can poison the entire tank and ruin the catch. After catching, fishermen must transport king crabs back to the port to store it in oxygenated ice pumps to ensure freshness. The Alaskan king crab fishing is conducted in the fall in the waters off Alaska and the Aleutian Islands. Then, the quality king crabs will be shipped worldwide. Only certain types of king crab are legal to hunt at different times of the year. Similar to lobsters, only males are legally allowed to be hunted and processed. In fact, behind the nutritious dishes and economic value that king crabs bring, fishermen also sacrifice many things to capture them. King crab fishing is very dangerous, and the death rate of fishermen is about 80 times higher than the death rate of ordinary workers. According to statistics, on average, one king crab fisherman dies every week during the hunting season. More than 80% of these deaths are due to drowning or hypothermia. Fishermen are also vulnerable to injuries from working with heavy machinery and equipment. However, for fishermen in the US, those lobsters and king crabs in the ocean are the shortest way for them to get rich. You see, the ocean is far away with big waves and winds. Danger awaits those who sail out to sea. Fishing not only brings income to fishermen, but it also helps develop the local economy. It has a much greater meaning. We can see that it is the fishermen who connect us closer to the ocean, from lobsters and king crabs in the ocean until they appear on your dinner table. It's all a long process in which fishermen play a huge role. Hello my friends. The ponds located between the rice fields and the small river will become the starting point for today's adventure. Farmers here not only farm, they also raise aquaculture, turning small shrimp into a huge source of income. Right now, we'll learn how farmers raise and produce billions of shrimp in an industry worth $68.4 billion. Farmed shrimp accounts for 55% of global shrimp production. Of these, about 75% of farmed shrimp is produced in Asia. Most take place in China, followed by Thailand, Indonesia, India, and Vietnam. Shrimp farming has generated significant income in these developing countries. Shrimp farming has changed from traditional small-scale enterprises into a global industry. Technological advances have led to farmers raising shrimp at increasingly higher densities. To have a bumper crop, the top factor is shrimp seed. Female shrimp lay 150 to 500 eggs at a time. After hatching, shrimp larvae are usually incubated for about 15 to 21 days to increase survival rates before being transported to the farm. Of course, the life cycle of shrimp takes place under conditions that are completely controlled by farmers. To effectively raise shrimp intensively, farmers must accelerate the growth rate and control the farming process so that the shrimp are uniform in size. At the livestock farm, before welcoming a new batch of baby shrimp, farmers will treat the pH level in the pond. Each pond has an oxygen generator, roof, bottom lining, and plastic pipes placed underneath to absorb water and release air from the pond. Shrimp are fed a high-protein diet, often provided in pellet form consisting of fish meal, soybean meal, and other supplements. The feeding schedule is adjusted according to the growth rate of the shrimp. If grown well, mature shrimp can be 5 to 8 inches long. With this intensive farming method, shrimp reach a weight of 40 shrimp ib after 80 days with a productivity of 55 tons per pond. Tiny shrimp are raised in vast shrimp ponds. They go through a magical development journey. With a flexible combination of traditional experience and modern technology, these farmers create a sustainable production chain, contributing to the welfare and development of the community. Every day, the work of shrimp farmers starts early in the morning. They regularly check the pond situation to know the status of the shrimp. During the harvest season, everything will be much more difficult. Sometimes, shrimp harvesting will take place at night like this. Their goal is to get all the shrimp ashore as quickly as possible, then transport them to the processing facility immediately. Because only then can they ensure quality and bring consumers the freshest shrimp. This farmer is feeding shrimp using traditional methods. They will go around the pond area to spread food. This way, they ensure that 95% of the food can be delivered to all the shrimp in the pond. This farm is more invested. Feeding is done using automatic feed dispensers. However, regardless of the size of the shrimp farm, feed costs still account for 50% to 70% of production costs. Shrimp farmers will rely on dissolved oxygen, pH, ammonia, water color, and water odor as indicators to evaluate the water quality of the pond. When water conditions in ponds deteriorate due to leftover food and shrimp excreta, farmers will treat the water in the pond to prevent disease. Periodic water treatment is carried out with disinfectants in the morning. After 6 hours, farmers continue to add probiotics to the pond to create conditions for beneficial bacteria to proliferate in the pond environment. In grow-out ponds, shrimp are raised from the immature stage to marketable size, and most farms produce 1 to 2 harvests per year. The time to harvest shrimp depends on the condition of shrimp in the pond and the market price. Therefore, before harvesting, farmers will take samples by casting nets in different areas of the pond to determine their average body weight and general condition. Typically, shrimp are harvested when they are about 3 to 6 months old. Small farms harvest by hand using nets or by using traps. At this farm, the pond will be drained and then the shrimp will be collected in nets. As the men dragged the nets to shore, the shrimp were placed in plastic barrels filled with ice. This is a way of cold preservation and at the same time causes the shrimp to face a slow death. In less than 10 hours after harvest, shrimp must be frozen and transported to cold storage or processing plants. Typically, while farmers arrange harvesting, factories arrange transportation. This depends on the location, but in most cases, crates of shrimp are transported by truck. Once at the processing plant, workers use antioxidant products to prevent melanin formation at this stage. After the shrimp are washed, they are evaluated for color and quality, and then classified like this. The shrimp can then be processed further by peeling, deheading, devining, cutting, or pre-cooking. Once processed in this way, they are packaged in bags and boxes and frozen, ready for export. At the packaging plant, all processing must be done very quickly, with a maximum time target of 4 minutes from the time the shrimp are removed from the cold washing tank in the receiving area until the time they are put into the freezer. You see, during the shrimp harvest, farmers try to cool the shrimp as quickly as possible. But all these efforts will be wasted if the temperature of the shrimp increases during processing at the packing plant because it is too warm there. Therefore, during processing, workers must maintain the temperature of shrimp below 3 degrees Celsius. Employees working in packaging plants must wear appropriate clothing to keep warm, while maintaining good hygiene in the factory. Here, the receiving tanks wash the shrimp. The inspection conveyor is designed and equipped with equipment to check and remove soft and damaged products before feeding a new batch of shrimp to the sorting machine. The sorting machine is responsible for monitoring and classifying the size of shrimp. This is the last opportunity to remove unsuitable shrimp or foreign material before the packaging process begins. Frozen shrimp is very fragile. Therefore, improper handling of these frozen products often causes broken shrimp. All packaging steps, including shipping arrangements, must be done gently and carefully to avoid damage to shrimp quality. Recently, high-tech shrimp farming models are popular with farmers because they can produce 3 shrimp crops per year, nearly doubling compared to traditional farming models. High-tech shrimp farming helps manage shrimp farming water quality and reduce the risk of diseases caused by weather. At the same time, the environment is protected because wastewater is thoroughly treated. The death rate of shrimp in high-tech shrimp farming is significantly lower than in traditional farming models. The shrimp industry is focusing on investing in developing a closed shrimp farming system from production to sales to reduce production costs and improve shrimp quality. Shrimp farmers have come together to form cooperatives to raise shrimp on a large scale. These cooperatives are provided with quality shrimp seeds, feed and shrimp farming materials, while ensuring sales output for these cooperatives. These shrimp farming systems, combined with closed production lines, bring outstanding economic efficiency. Besides benefits, challenges such as diseases and fluctuating shrimp prices in the market are also the top concerns of farmers. This makes it necessary for farmers to continuously monitor and analyze situations, think about solutions, and quickly adapt to these growing challenges.